So, the NBA trade deadline is less than 24 hours away. Today on Wednesday, we really didn't have any trades, which is a bit disappointing, but there will definitely be trades tomorrow on Thursday. And I think the best player who we know is available is Kyle Lowry. He's the only player who I could really see swinging the balance of the NBA championship, because he's a really good player and he might be available. So, in this video, I'm going to be asking the question: will Kyle Lowry be traded? And I think there's a chance he will, and there's a chance he won't. Lowry this season is averaging 17.5 points, 5.5 boards, and 7.5 assists. He's a very good shooter, a very gritty defender, and he's a very good playmaker also. He's also a great locker room guy. Everyone loves Kyle Lowry. He plays hard on defense. He draws charges, and he's just a winning player. And I think a lot of teams would want him, but the problem is he's making $30 million. He's on expiring contracts, and it's hard to trade for him, both in getting the money to work and in having enough assets that the Toronto Raptors would accept. And then also, he doesn't have a no trade clause, but the Raptors are only going to trade him to a team he wants to go because of all he's done for Toronto and that he is the greatest Raptor in franchise history. So the two teams interested, or I think the two front runners, are the Miami Heat and the Philadelphia 76ers. There's also other teams like the Nuggets or maybe the Lakers who could be interested, but I think the Sixers and the Heat are the two teams most likely to get Kyle Lowry. So if we talk about the Heat first, they could definitely use Lowry as an upgrade at point guard. Dragic could come off the bench and Lowry could be the main point guard. He can fit with Jimmy Butler, as Lowry can both be a primary ball handler but also play off ball effectively. He could fit with Bam, could fit into their movement, and could definitely fit into their hard-working culture and their defense-first mentality. So that type of thing is ideal, and he's good friends with Jimmy Butler, and it makes sense in all that respect. The problem is the trade. The Heat definitely have the salary to get it done between either Kelly Olynyk or Goran Dragic. You need to make up $24 million to trade for Kyle Lowry or Andre Iguodala. They have plenty of contracts. The problem is the assets. I believe they can trade one first round pick in like 2027, and then they have some young players like Tyler Hero and Precious Achiuwa. They have Duncan Robinson, who's actually like 27, but has just recently burst onto the scene and is a valuable asset, as he's a 6'7" guy who is one of the best shooters in the NBA. And then they have the prized young asset Tyler Hero, who I think the Raptors have said that they want. So the problem with this trade for me is that the Raptors would really want Tyler Hero to make it work, and I feel like they wouldn't accept any trade without Tyler Hero, because the Heat, apart from Tyler Hero, just don't have the assets. Duncan Robinson is a great player, but he's on an expiring contract, so they'd have to re-sign him, and he's going to be making a lot of money. You see the contracts that guys like Joe Harris and Davis Bertans have gotten. Robinson could be demanding something similar, and I'm not sure if the Raptors would want to pay him that much. And then Kendrick Nunn, okay, he's decent, but he's nothing like super special. And then Precious Achiuwa, he has some potential, but he's fallen out of the rotation. And though I think the Raptors have a reputation with developing that type of player, he was a late first round pick, so I don't know how much value he has, especially for a player of Kyle Lowry's quality and who has done so much for Toronto. So I think the Raptors would want Tyler Hero in a deal, and if the Heat are going to move Tyler Hero, they weren't really willing to do it for James Harden, so I think it's a bit unlikely they'd do it for Kyle Lowry. Maybe they would. Maybe, obviously, I think Hero's value has diminished a little bit between now and the James Harden trade, but he's still a great, very exciting young player, only 21 years old. And I think the Heat would want to hold on to him. So that's sort of where this deal sort of falls apart from me. The two things that could happen is the Heat could just be like, okay, we're willing to give up Tyler Hero. I think it's unlikely, but it is possible. Or the Raptors would accept a deal where it'd be, Nunn, Robinson, and Achua and that first round pick, and they would think that would be enough for Kyle Lowry, and maybe Kyle Lowry would want to go to Miami, and the Raptors would be like, okay. Or there could always be like a third team involved, like maybe a team really wants Duncan Robinson, and they give the Raptors an extra first round pick, and that gets it over the line. So those are the type of things that could make this deal work, but sort of the Tyler Hero part of it makes me feel that maybe it won't happen. And then the second team is the Philadelphia 76ers, and I've already talked about Lowry to the Sixers. The deal would be Danny Green's contract, Mike Scott's contract, and then some of Matisse Thybulle, Tyrese Maxey, and the Sixers can trade 2 first-round picks. I think it would probably be Maxey and 1 first-round pick. And, that's a decent return for the Raptors. Danny Green's an expiring, as well as Mike Scott. And then you get Tyrese Maxey, who's an exciting young combo guard. Though maybe they already have a guy like that in Malachi Flynn, so they wouldn't be that interested in Maxey. And then there's also the first-round pick. First-round picks are always good. The problem with this is, one, I don't know how great an offer that is, to be honest. Maybe the Sixers would have to throw in Matisse Thybulle and an extra first-round pick or an extra first-round pick to get it done. And the second thing is the Sixers would be trading like 3 or 4 players to get Kyle Lowry and sacrificing a lot of depth. They'd have to pick up some extra guys for their roster spots, and that could be a problem. So that's sort of the problem with the Lowry to the Sixers deal, though I think it's definitely possible, because I think the Sixers have the assets and would be willing to part ways with the assets. Daryl Morey is not afraid to trade first-round picks or young players if he thinks he has a chance to win now, and I think the Sixers do have a good chance. They'd have a starting lineup of Lowry, Seth Curry, Ben Simmons, Tobias Harris, and Joel Embiid, and that's a really good lineup. They'd be great defensively. And then on offense, Ben Simmons could be used as more of a screener and a roller, and Lowry could have some of the ball handling duties in the half court. And Lowry is also from Philly, so that part of it makes sense. There could always be a third team involved that could help, with the salaries, and there has been some teams interested in Danny Green, so that is always an option. And I think the Sixers are definitely a good option. The question is just, would they be willing to do the deal? And then if we talk about some other teams for Kyle Lowry, the one I see maybe happening would be Denver, because they have the assets and Lowry could be a good fit there. But, I don't know if they'd be willing to give up their young assets, and I don't know if Lowry would want to go to Denver. I think he'd rather go to Philly or Miami. And then Woj said don't rule out the Lakers. I'm going to rule out the Lakers. I just don't think they have the assets to get it done. Like, would the Raptors really accept KCP, some other contract, Talen Horton-Tucker, and the Lakers' 2027 first-round pick? I mean, maybe, but I think they'd rather accept the Miami or the Philly offer that are probably on the table. So that's why I don't see the Lakers. Clippers don't have the assets. And then those are sort of it. Maybe the Dallas Mavericks, but then again, they don't really have the assets either, and I don't know how many first-round picks they should really be trading. So I think the two teams it comes down to is Miami and Philly. So will he be traded? I think, it's so tough because, they could definitely want him, and, it really depends on if he wants to get traded, in my opinion. If he wants to get traded, and he feels that he would be in a better place somewhere else, then I think the Raptors will trade him. But if he isn't really bothered and he wants to stay in Toronto, then I think the Raptors will re-sign him. That's what it comes down to. If I had to predict, I think that he won't get traded, and I think he'll re-sign with the Raptors. I'm like 51. It's like 51-49 for me. I just think that because of the difficulties with the deals and the fact that there isn't much time left till the trade deadline, and that he's so beloved in Toronto, and I think he likes playing for the Raptors. So I think he just about won't get traded, but I could definitely be wrong. He could be traded while I'm recording this video. So with that being said, that's the end of this video, guys. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to this channel for more NBA content. I'm going to be covering as many trades as I can on the trade deadline, reacting to all that. Leave a like on this video, and I'll see you guys next time.